An easy chocolate slab today on Weekend at the Cottage. Welcome to Weekend at the Cottage. I'm Nick Manojlovic. Today, beauty, I am going to show you how to make an easy chocolate slab cake, and you're going to be able to craft a homemade dessert for your friends and family in record time. Let's get started. To begin, check out the ingredients needed. Nothing complicated. In fact, I bet you already have all of these ingredients on hand, so you're gonna be able to make this cake as soon as this video is done. One of the things I most love about this recipe, it's what I call a one bowl wonder. And it goes like this. Into a large bowl, I'm adding 2 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour, 2 cups granulated sugar, a teaspoon of kosher salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda gives this cake some lift, and then 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. Have a whisk handy, mix the dry ingredients together. Now we're gonna add our wet ingredients. 1 cup of vegetable oil, a cup of whole milk, 2 eggs, crack them in a little bowl, lightly whisk them, add them in, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Last ingredient, 1 cup of coffee at room temperature. If you're making this cake for kids, make sure to use double espresso. I'm joking, but when I talked to Carol about this recipe, she says, make sure you tell everybody they can use decaffeinated. We tried the recipe both ways and it still tastes just as good with decaffeinated coffee. You can decide which one to use. Now that all those ingredients are together in the bowl, I'm gonna whisk everything together to combine. Our chocolate slab batter is done. Next step, we're gonna preheat our oven to 350 degrees. The rack is in the middle position. We need to prep our baking pan. I'm using a 9x13, and you can grease and flour it, or you can use parchment paper. When I do the parchment paper method, I kind of fold it up to the size of the bottom of the pan. I kind of snip the corners so the parchment paper will stand proud like this. Then when you take the batter, you can give it a quick stir and then pour the batter into the pan, and then make sure those parchment corners are standing up. I like to take a pair of scissors and just trim off the excess parchment at this stage because I just do. I like the look of it. And then last thing, I'm tapping the pan on the counter, and then when the oven is at temperature, we're transferring the cake into the oven to bake. It's gonna bake for 40 minutes exactly. If your kitchen is wonky, like the Weekend at the Cottage kitchen, rotate your pan at the halfway mark. At that 40-minute mark, when your cake is done, always a good idea to take a cake tester or brochette just to test that the cake is done before you take it out of the oven. Now with the cake cooling, why not make this easy chocolate frosting? It's gonna be ready in 5 minutes and goes perfectly with our chocolate slab. A couple of tips about that frosting. You wanna bring your butter to room temperature before you begin, and you also wanna sift the icing sugar and cocoa powder before you begin. These 2 things together make for a very smooth frosting. Let's do a quick review. Our chocolate slab has cooled. We just made a chocolate frosting. A couple of options. You can simply cover the frosting, cover the slab, take it somewhere. If someone ever asks you to bring dessert to a party, bring this. It's always a big hit. Another thing you can do is frost it straight away. If it's a fancy get together, you can even do the sides of the cake. It looks fantastic. When you go to cut your slab, I like to come away with 24 smaller size pieces, which is perfect. You can serve a large crowd. Now let's say it's someone's birthday or a special occasion. You can take a little bit of that frosting, place it into a piping bag, squeeze it down, and then do a rosette on one of those pieces, adding some multicolored sprinkles and maybe a birthday candle. Trust me, our chocolate slab with chocolate frosting is cause for celebration. any day. Looking for other wonderful recipes and ideas, please visit weekendатthecottage.com. When you're at our website, why not subscribe to it? Look for us on our dedicated YouTube channel. You can subscribe to us there as well. And then finally, look for us on your favorite social media platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Well, what else do I have to tell you? Oh, just a final on how this tastes. When you take your fork, you'll see the icing is extremely soft and the cake is super moist. And I love the look and the texture of it. It's all about the flavor though. I'm so glad I felt like a slab today. You will too when you make it. Enjoy. Until next time.